Hello, everyone. Welcome to my reading of The Clock Tower of 2015, a short story that I was told I will need to know to fully understand the context of some upcoming FGO stuff. Other than that, don't know much about it. It's pretty short, right? We'll read it all in one go, so it's just kind of a one-off here, but let's get going with this reading about The Clock Tower of 2015, published in 2014, so not far off. But let's get going and see what this story is about. Clock Tower 2015 by Kanoku Nasu, translated by Seikeo and Leftovers. Also, GuiP2 on Twitter, and Protoform X did the compiling and formatting. So we got 5 chapters. I'm not going to read them per se. All right, let's give this a go and see what this is about, because I have no idea. Although it was something that happened often, a magus was found dead this winter. He was the director of a small research building, and his corpse was found in the director's room of that exact building. The cause of death was said to be hypovolemic shock secondary to dismemberment. Well, what the heck is hyper... Okay, I have a second thing up. What is hypervolemic? I'm Googling this. Hypovolemic shock is an emergency condition in which severe blood or other fluid loss makes the heart unable to pump blood to the body. Okay. Heart stopped working. Got it. Sounds good. Even though the crime scene suggested murder, no one visited the site since the week prior. His death was thus deemed suicide because there was no suspect. The incident was incomprehensible, but as a magus, meeting such an end was not surprising. Murder that looked like suicide, or suicide that looked like murder, such was the norm in the world of magi. The mourners had no questions regarding the death, but everyone was puzzled when the deceased was buried. On a tombstone prepared by the deceased before his death, there were 3 names. Are we not going to learn the names? Oh, okay. Summer, suburb of London, Clock Tower, 11th District. I don't know whose perspective we are. Under the blazing afternoon sun, I squinted my eyes as I walked these old streets. The English climate was drier than that of Japan. Since the humidity was low, one did not get sweaty or uncomfortable despite the sunshine. I took off my coat and headed to my destination with a map in hand. The street was made of bricks and stone. The buildings from the 12th century were well preserved, creating a juxtaposition of medieval and the modern. The town consisted of over 40 student dormitories, called colleges, over 100 research buildings, as well as business districts that supplied the residents. This was the birthplace of the Magic Association, the center of the modern magecraft world, the mecca of mages. It had been a few years. I again walked into the city that inspired fear and awe. The Clock Tower. That's interesting. I didn't know the Clock Tower was like a city unto itself. I kind of assumed it was like the tower. From here, it's Rocks Road. The 11th Department really earned their name as the weakness. There's nothing on the streets. It certainly fits the impoverished lifestyle of the archaeologists. The Clock Tower divided the city based on faculty and department. The architecture varied depending on the district. The Magic Association divided mysticism into 12 domains. In other words, the city reflected the specialties of each faculty. The 12 faculties were ruled by the 12 lords. The 12 domains of mysticism included the critical general fundamental studies, encompassing basic knowledge, ley line studies, and mana studies, which was designated as 1, as well as individual fundamentals 2, necromancy, 3, numbers hard, numbers scary, geology, 4, zoology, 5, anthropology, 6, botany, 7, astronomy, 8, creation, 9, curse, 10, archaeology, 11, and modern magecraft theories, 12. These were the directions which dictated the ways of magi. Although policies was the 13th item and was open to those who wished to pursue politics, it was a social science rather than a discipline that pursued mysticism. As a result, it was not included in the 12 faculties. Okay, so let's see here. So individual fundamentals, so that's, again, like you got your So general fundamentals, but then individual fundamentals. This is the only one I don't really get. Necromancy is the dead. Geology is the earth. Zoology is animals. Anthropology is humans. Botany is plants. Astronomy is stars. Creation is an interesting one. Is this like friggin' doing what Shiro does with creating stuff? Maybe. Curses, yeah, right, dark magic, archaeology, ancient stuff. Okay, got it there. The majority of the Magi studied general fundamentals for about 5 years, which included common magical knowledge, sympathetic magecraft, contagious magecraft, that's called disease, leyline studies, and mana studies, and then entered the faculty that was associated with their lineage. Magi might also enroll in other facilities as associates to help further his studies in his own faculty. My faculty was astronomy. I don't know who this is. Although the faculty was generalized as astronomy, it included divisions such as astrology, planetology, and divinity. It was rare to run into other Magi who studied in the same courses as myself. Also, there was a great unity within each dormitory college. If an outsider stepped into the college, it was not uncommon for interpersonal conflicts to evolve into inter-college wars. However, I never resided within the clock tower, so I was not territorial. Right now, I was just walking along the Rocks Road College. If this was the college of a major faculty, that of the why can't I say that? One of those guys' associates, then I would already be surrounded by private police. Rocks Road was an area distant from the power struggles of the association, so such danger did not exist. The people here were a group of pure academics who studied archaeology and nothing else. They were not the kind to arrest me and cause quarrel. Oh my god, I see the name. Oh, here we are. Sir Flauros' research building. So that's interesting. He's going by Sir Flauros, if this is who I think it is. Because people told me that there's a character in this who is important to FGO. There is a Flauros. If he's going by Flauros, that's very interesting. Why is he already doing that, you know? He was bigger than I expected. He must have found a powerful backer. After arriving at my destination, I began to survey the building standing in the garden on the other side of the fence. I expected a small house, but here was a mansion larger than 200 Tsubo. What does that mean? To a Japanese such... Okay, so we're Japanese. Okay. To a Japanese such as me, it looked like a small castle. He probably had co-researchers. If he had a workshop of such magnitude, he must be quite successful. Why would something like this happen? I swallowed back the inauspiciousness I was about to utter. The plaque on the gate said no visitors before the end of the month. The mansion was surrounded by a tall fence. I cleared my throat, adjusted my glass, and pressed the doorbell with ladylike elegance. Okay, we're a woman, I guess. So who are we? Okay. The record of Leiv Uvall. I'm guessing, is this Lev? A different way of spelling his name, perhaps? Maybe. I don't know. Because his name was Lev Liner. Leiv Uvall? Why is it different? The purpose of a magus' life was to serve the past. It was an afternoon in the laboratory. Buried in a mountain of measuring apparatus and recording paper. Okay, yeah, it's got to be him, because the name is Lev, right? Leiv Uvall, interesting his name is different, was still perusing records of the past. Leiv's job in this residence was a researcher. He was a German male of Aryan descent. That... Is he? Ain't no blonde hair, blue eyes in what I'm looking at, but... He hunched his long torso like a cat and paced back and forth in the cluttered room. Although he was mocked as a research fanatic or the indoor chairman, he was in fact a prodigy who drew attention by attaining the 4th rank FES at the age of 20. In the subsequent years, Lev hid himself in the 11th faculty, Rocks Road, and quietly performed his duties. Director, you've been invited by the head of the division this morning. It seems like there's important matters to discuss and request your attendance. What do you think, sir? The sound from the speaker in the laboratory was that of a nubile woman. I don't like that word. It was the voice of Lev's secretary and caretaker. Lev nervously scratched his head and spoke seriously into the speaker. I don't have time for that, Miss Norwich. Cancel all my external affairs. Such leisure activities are not something I can afford. All matters pertaining to myself will only be addressed on the last day of each month and only during the 4 hours between evening and bedtime. How many times do I need to repeat this? But this time it is the dean himself. It is such a great honor. I don't care. Why don't you chase him away by feeding him those awful pies of yours? Furthermore, isn't the dean a creature of urban legend who doesn't even show up for the school entrance ceremony? I stayed at the clock tower because I... No, stayed at the clock tower. I stayed at the clock tower because of the promised unbridled freedom, yet these meaningless social occasions are growing more numerous year after year. This is contrary to what was advertised. I agree, completely, but you got to realize that such is life. Maybe for the normal men. For a social exile such as I, there's nothing to discuss with the rest of the world. Anyways, cancel it for me, and try your best not to bother me, at least for today. For the next 10 hours, just stop bothering me. Yes, sir. I will speak to the head of the district. The speaker went silent. Lev sighed as he read the records in the grimoire. The disturbing part was, during the previous conversation, his eyes never stopped scanning the tome. Ah, the life of a magus is so brief. It would have been great if I was born with just the brain and nothing else. Like what you just saw, Lev was a pure academic magus. All his efforts were poured solely into theory and magecraft. He cared not of any other responsibilities, the application of his magecraft, his lineage, or building his faction. From Lev's perspective, those magi were the same as the plebeians that were normal people. If one were to decipher the mystical, then he must sacrifice his humanity. A magus was a creature with nothing but magecraft on his mind. There was no room for burdens such as life. To a magus, deciphering a grimoire was not just a matter of comprehension, it was for recreating a mystery from eras past, and then redefining it in its current era. It was like translating Shakespeare into modern English. You really don't gotta do that. You really don't gotta. Just learn to read old Shakespeare, it's so much nicer. If deciphering a page of the grimoire took an hour, then a 500-page tome would take some 20 days. In the research building, there were 500 grimoire waiting to be read. On average, Lev could read about 12 a year. It would take 4 to 5 years to finish reading all the tomes. No, if that were the case, it would be a simple matter. Reading grimoire one by one was even easier. However, Leiv Uvall's duty was not deciphering a certain tome, but deciphering a system. He must digest all concepts and comprehend all interrelated phenomena. If Grimoire A and Grimoire B had conflicting views on a certain item, then A must be reviewed. The content of A must be reviewed. The more grimoire he read, the more time he needed to redefine concepts. The number was astronomical. Of course, the cause of Lev's grief was not exhaustion from reading for so long. Rather, he was disgusted by the briefness of his life, which fell short of the time required to comprehensively analyze all the tomes. Short. Oh, so short. My lifetime will not suffice. Is that why he become Demon God Pillar? That would make sense. Magecraft did indeed offer methods that slowed aging or temporarily restored youth. However, through these methods, one could only, on average, extend a life to the orders of centuries. Even Magi could not escape death. They thus transferred their wishes to their descendants. The reason the Magi raised offspring at all was to allow their children to inherit the unfulfilled wishes. According to the sayings in the world of Magi, a magus could only devote all his effort to research until he was 50. After that, his life should be spent raising an heir, in other words, the next runner. No, I don't want that. They have neither the talent nor will. Furthermore, I can't place my trust in my descendants. My duties can only be fulfilled by me. Lev thus would not waste such time. Even though his one life was not enough, he still selflessly dedicated himself to research. To the observer, his determination was almost tragic. He was a fool who struggled to pursue his wish, despite its impossibility and futility. Ah, if only I had a body double, maybe I could then live a little. Unconsciously, this had become Lev's mantra. I don't feel that way. You don't want to pass your duties to your heir because you want to keep all the joy to yourself. Oh, that is someone talking to him. There was a friend who thusly argued against Lev's mantra. The pace of Lev's non-stop reading slowed. The only thing he remembered from his time as a student was eating lunch with her. Sorry to bother you, Director. Do you have a minute? Oh my god, I just saw the name. What? I'm busy! I wasn't distracted at all. Oh, there's an unfamiliar guest coming to visit. Should I send her away? Of course. Especially that I don't even know this person. I already sent the dean away. You think I would waste some time on a guy that won't make an appointment? I just want to be sure, so the same as usual. I'll wait. I want to be sure. Who is this barbarian that did not even make an appointment? What is the name? Ah, she calls herself Miss Aozaki. I never heard of such a person. Let me send her packing right away. Now, which one is it? Because it's very different. No. Wait, I'm coming. Invite her to the living room. No, the director's room. I'll get changed and be there immediately. Listen, be courteous and brew a pot of red tea, and don't you bring out your pies. Leiv rushed to the room next door and put on a suit that he had not worn in years. He brushed his messy hair, took a deep breath, and walked out into the hallway. He was nervous about meeting an old friend, whom he had not seen in years, but he was also bursting with anticipation. His reminiscence just a while ago must be a sign. Aozaki, the name of the only person Leiv considered a friend. Okay, I think this is Toko then. Oh, she was designated for sealing and became a target of the Department of Execution. Oh, did we know about that? Not mentioning the clock tower, she risked her life by just setting foot in England. I don't know which one it is. I see the word trademark glasses. This is Toko. Yes, that makes sense. Okay. I see. This is Toko. Toko and Leiv are friends. Oh my god, there's a lot to that. Okay. He had not heard about her in years. True talent induces jealousy, even amongst your own kind. Leiv thought he would never see her again. Now she unexpectedly returned to the clock tower and showed up at his door. Just to clarify any misunderstanding, Leiv was incapable of love. He was happy purely because a friend with similar thoughts and skills was visiting. He was restless because he was looking forward to discussing magecraft with her in great length and detail. Leiv had no experience comprehending such luxuries as love. Oh, I never expected, like, asexual love liner lore. Okay. Let's see here. Welcome! It's been a while. Your precision didn't drop, Miss Aozaki. Of course not. Welcome to Rocks Road. I'm happy to see you. Leiv knocked on the door of the director's room before opening it. In the director's room stood a woman barely 25 years old. She turned her head while taking off her trademark glasses like a nuisance. The woman smiled at Leiv. Hi, sorry to bother you, Mr. Director. It happened so fast, but Oh no, it's the younger sister! Oh no, it's Aoko! Hi, sorry to bother you, Mr. Director. It happened so suddenly, but I ran out of travel funds. Can I borrow some cash? It's the younger sister! No! Okay, great, this is good. The 40-year-old kicked the chair away like a child. Leiv Uvall's dream dissolved before him, even before nap time. Okay, we're Aoko. This is good. Miss Aozaki wore travel clothes. A plain t-shirt and worn-out jeans. Oh my god, she's straight up in her melty outfit. Long black hair. Wait, what? Huh. So this must be... Does she not have her red hair all the time then? Does she actually go back to black hair sometimes? Or is this before she like mastered the red hair or something? I don't know. Okay. Long black hair that fell freely down her back. No makeup to bring out her femininity. See, that's funny because like She kind of what I would say she was feminine in like Mahoyo, right? But I guess not. No makeup to bring out her femininity, or no need to overdress. And yet, what struck about this extremely charming woman was her cool aura and her lovely figure. Except him, he doesn't feel that. A princess who casually went off on an adventure before her coronation. That was Lev's impression when he first saw her. It was a thought that had not changed even after 10 years after, unaffected by the passage of time. My apologies, that was a childish outburst. Still, what is with those glasses? I understand your sentiment, but I don't appreciate you imitating your sister. It's just a disguise, though? I'm feeling so attacked right now. Is that so? Do you think you could pass yourself off with a pair of glasses? As always, you fail in self-assessment. Take a cue from your sister's refinement and meticulousness. So, should I imitate her or not? Miss Aozaki pouts petulantly. In true sibling fashion, the gesture brought to mind the sister that Lev had been expecting. Although the sisters were polar opposites in their characters and ways of life, physically speaking, the similarities were many, to the point that if you broke them down to little pieces and reassembled them, you would reassemble them once more, you would end up with the exact same form. That's a weird thing to say. Okay. Regardless, why are you here? You should be aware that I dislike you. But I believe that you've run out of travel funds. Lack of foresight would be characteristic of you, after all. The matter of pocket money is only incidental. Right, I'm actually surprised as well. When I heard that you were live at the reception desk, I thought, huh, that's not what I've heard. Whoa, huh? Me being alive is not what you heard? Right. Weren't you dead? I was notified with a letter and all. I was in the area, so I dropped by to give my condolences, and here you are alive and well. Wait, what? Once again, Lev felt dizzy. Not once venturing outside in however many years as director had given rise to such rumors. How much more comfortable it would be if he could turn into a lab worm, he sighed. It's a persistent rumor, nothing to take seriously. Who would send you a letter if I was dead in the first place? Well, that's true, Miss Aozaki replied while picking up a chess piece from the desk. You seem unconvinced. Fine, let us check to be sure. It's possible that I may have died and became a wraith without realizing it. There's a mirror over there. Well, my figure reflected? See, a wraith's wouldn't, but it looks like mine is, no? Huh, so it is. Which is to say you're obviously in good health. I'm relieved too. This turned out to be a huge waste of time. Good. I have only ill feelings toward you, but I hold your sister in great affection as a colleague. Out of respect for her, I will cover your return ticket. Is cash okay? Enough to cover dinner is fine. That aside, are you still going on deciphering? At Miss Aozaki's question, Leiv Uvall felt an unease he could not put into words. She had shown no interest in his research to begin with. Lev did not acknowledge her methods at all either. From the first meeting, the two of them could not understand each other. And yet, why was she asking such a question at this point? If I'm not mistaken, your research aimed to measure the past. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Oh, is that like... That's where we got the research on, Caldeus, right? Yeah, okay. That is correct. Unlike you, it is decidedly standard archaeology. Locating relics, examining them, and interpreting them in modern terms. Gathering evidence and putting together hypotheses on how things must have been until there is no room for debate. Archaeology is a discipline that accurately reconstructs and brings messages from the past back to life. It's the same with astronomy. When you measure the vastness of space, do you not measure distance using light from the past? It's actually the opposite. The only way to perceive the present is by observing the light from hundreds of light years away. Because for current technology, it's safe to rely on something that existed in the past. Then that is fine. Humans cannot even grasp the present, yet alone the future. The only thing certain is the past. By receiving the records of the past, we can ascertain why the present is here and change it. The future is something like the answer column of a test, a blank space waiting for someone to fill it out. Worthless in itself, what matters is only the person who fills it in. Leiv Uvall's life was dedicated to filling that blank space, accurately receiving guidance from the past and disseminating it into this era, reproducing the world of the past and its rules in the present day. That was Leiv's research, the unshakable conviction that he had since he was born. My research continues as always, recording a past that definitely existed. What I leave behind is my life. Beyond that, the future after the 22nd century is unworthy of consideration. After all, that would have nothing to do with me. All right, I remembered. That was why we got along terribly, me being more future-minded. I said something like, whether you skip over 100 years at a time in previous human history like you're playing Daruma Otoshi, the destination is similar. That's the game where you hit the thing. Do they have a... Wait, do they not have a note for this? Are you serious? Is it like way at the bottom? Nope. Okay, well, I guess the Daruma Otoshi thing... I mean, it's just probably the Daruma game, right? I'm pretty sure it's what it is. I need to find it again. There we go. Yeah. So there's no actual thing on that. That's fine. That is correct. You inherently look only to the future, although you're very popular with neophilic magi. Alright. What does that word mean? What does neophilic mean? Is a person who has a love or enthusiasm for new or novel things and a fondness for change. Alright? You, to me, are nothing short of a plague. I don't even want to imagine wasting my time for the sake of the future. It's the difference between making a heap until you end up reaching the sun and building from the ground up in order to reach the sun. That said, the fact that both are barbaric acts doesn't change. Is seeking after the truth barbaric? I guess I could zoom in a bit more, honestly. Yeah, just, that's too much. Let's go with, that is way too much. Why did it do that much? That's still too much. Ignore my eyes. Don't worry about it. Why is it doing this? Why? Come on. That's better. Okay. Turn off the heart eyes. There we go. Anyways. Ah! Why? It was perfect. Come on. There. Okay. Don't touch it now. Don't touch it now. Is seeking after the truth barbaric? In terms of exposing whatever is not known to you, it is. She had a point there. A researcher's tenacity isn't because patience is required in their experiments, but a result of their own stubbornness. They never forsake their personal convenience. Their vehemence is like that of a zealot. Then I'm discounted as a researcher, as I am different. Delicate, not at all tough when I can't bear to think about the future. Not even about my own circumstances. I simply cannot live in any other way. His words spoke of his own shortcomings, and yet Leiv was smiling, not in self-deprecation, but a complete contentment in his own inhuman way of life. She stared dumbfoundedly at such a face as that. Or rather, one that's having too much fun. You're definitely my exact opposite, and I have my doubts about your research direction. Seeing such an expression, I can't really fault you. I came here in a tizzy because of a strange letter, but it seems I shouldn't be worried. Miss Aozaki returned the chess piece she'd been playing with to the desk and made to leave the director's room. How odious. What expression would that be? The one I'm looking at right now. Really, it's because your words and your feelings don't match. From the looks of it, you'll be working as long as you live, and you probably won't die until your research is complete. I wonder. Well, it may be so. Working as long as I live has a nice ring to it. Therein lies salvation. Yes, if that were to happen, then come and leave me flowers someday. Consider it payment for lunch. Shrugging his shoulders, Leiv walked out side by side with her to the cafeteria but if you come again, make sure to give me your full name. If I had known the younger sister was the visitor, I would have at least treated you to tea. He spoke of an improbable future. All right. Autumn. So wait, was it still autumn? Or are we still, is it the same date? Like, where are we? Record of Leiv Uvall. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Are we still... I think we're still in autumn here. Okay. Well, I don't know if we're changing perspectives or what we're doing. Under the muted midday sun, I squinted my eyes as I walked along these nostalgic streets. I'd gone for a casual look with flashy sunglasses and a long wig. Okay, well, there we go. She's wearing a wig. That would make sense. Having left my coat in the car, I felt a little chilly in just a shirt. It helped that in a little while the sunlight would get stronger, but unfortunately my free time did not extend past the morning. This is my second time visiting Rocks Road College, a mansion where the person I'd be meeting hadn't changed since last time. It was a time of intimate conversations, but that wouldn't be the case now. Oh, I would leave the flowers and be done with it. Okay, now she's dead. Now he's dead, rather, I guess. Right? Maybe? Unless it's just another point of view of the same thing, I don't know. It can't be helped that I'm late. Rather, I'm still pretty early considering I'm like a fugitive returning to a prison. When it was reported that he died several months ago, I was in the middle of shaking off a pursuer from the clock tower. After confirming they lost me when I snuck into England by sea, snapped up a cobra. I don't know what that's meant to be a reference to. That I ran across. Maybe that's like a sea-doo or something. And blazed through the blazed to the highway? Okay, it might be a bike. Right, blazed through the highways to Rocks Road. By the way, I'm very glad, unlike Japan, there are no tolls here. The clock tower isn't after me because they hate me. On the contrary, I'm being chased because I am too highly regarded. Given a special treatment that promised a worry-free life if I stayed, there'd be no freedom in being confined to a single place no matter what they said, not that they could be trusted in the first place. That was why I became a wanderer, leaving behind my numerous friends at the clock tower, and only returning to this town many years later. At any rate, the college atmosphere was very enjoyable. The 11th District's Rocks Road's atmosphere in particular. If only there were no lords, this place would be pretty livable, pointless though it is to hope. They're even more stubborn than the vampire knockoff that's been running the clock tower for nearly 1,000 years. Okay, yep, that's, okay. But wasn't Elmaloy ruined? And I've heard the mineralogy top brass have changed too. Some big lore about the politics of the association, of course. Talking about Zelrich, of course, right? While the Magic Association was founded in the 2nd century, this town was said to be established in the 12th. The ones that offered the land, funded the city's construction, and are still bankrolling it are the 12 Magi families known as its monarchs. As the ones that manage the safeguarding, concealment, and decline of mystery in the modern era, it'd be no exaggeration to call them rulers of the magical world. For convenience sake, there exists a dean above them, the founder of the association, but he stays cooped up in the heart of the clock tower and rarely shows his face. The Magic Association is divided into 3 institutions. The clock tower here in London, the Sea of Astray, okay, I definitely prefer the name Wandering Sea myself in the North Atlantic, and Egypt's Atlas Mountains or Atlas Institute, right? We now have modern names for these. While equal in scale, many consider the clock tower to be synonymous with the Magic Association itself. Regarding magecraft from the Age of Gods as supreme and scorning its common era counterpart as child's play, the Wandering Sea is currently engaged in a cold war with the clock tower. Having no connection with the outside world to begin with, not even light can penetrate into the living abyss, the Giant's Pit, Atlas Institute. To belong in those two would mean to abandon the current era. No one sees themselves eagerly becoming a relic of the past. As a result, 90% of all Western Magi enroll in the clock tower. This trend can no longer be reversed. If the clock tower were ever to fall from the center of the magical world, it would virtually spell its demise across a global scale. What's more, centuries of ideological conflict among the lords have split them into 2 factions on the brink of internal strife. Well, not that I'm complaining if it's just the leaders that change. At the end of the day, it's an ideal environment as far as the researcher is concerned. Or was that him? I don't know, actually. No, that was probably her talking. Compared to the anachronistic Wandering Sea, this place was full of new theories. For me, it was still a treasure trove of mysteries and romance. Everyone has their own impression of the Magic Association. For freelancers unaffiliated with the association, it's an authority structure embroiled in internal struggles, while fledgling magi yearn for the academic city that can fulfill their dreams of research and future prosperity, which the veterans absorbed in the research take as fact of everyday life, insofar as being able to share in its facilities is convenient. Here it is. Mr. Flauros' research building. As always, his garden is well looked at after, huh? Okay, this must be before. Like the same time. Is it really being looked after? In other words, did people even live in here? The plaque on the gate read, "No visitors before the end of the month." The mansion was surrounded by a tall iron fence. Throwing the suitcase I held to the other side, I descended into the depths of the garden with lively steps. Record of Reinol Gusion. Is it just me or are we repeating this? What are we doing? The life of a magus is dedicated to the future. With his daily routine over and done with, Reinol Gusion. What are we doing? Reinol Gusion returned home whistling merrily. A desk with a laptop on it, a fridge full of beer, and a big sofa used in place of a bed. That was all there was in the room. Its simple furnishing brought to mind an exhibition sample rather than a laboratory. Right? What are we doing? Reinhold was a researcher residing in this mansion. He was a German male of Aryan descent, thin and tall with rough mannerisms. From his wild expression and behavior, some people mistook him for the research building's bouncer. Not unreasonably, as Reinhold was overall a confrontational and dynamic magus. Upon hearing that a new magical theory had developed in the West, he would rush off and confront its creator. Upon hearing that a new ley line shift occurred in East, he would rush off and stake his claim for the right to use it. These resources are wasted on you chumps. He was denounced as a predatory and acquisitive magus in the clock tower for snatching up people's research and property under such pretenses. It was a complete misunderstanding of Reinald's real intentions, which were hard to explain to others. In truth, Reinald himself couldn't explain why it was so fun to shut down other people's enterprises and then legally acquire them. At times, he was convinced he would never. Rather, I'm telling you, it's fine as long as there's a future ahead. I'm done with stupid shit like preserving tradition and the status quo. I guess money and the like is my stake in the future. He opened the fridge with a curse, that's amazing, pulled out a beer bottle, and drank it down in one gulp with relish. Ew, don't have relish with beer, that's nasty. It was a small reward for the overnight struggles, but that much was enough of an expense. For him, the smaller cost of the present was, the better. A money grubber, he recklessly squandered it on various expenses, almost none of which were for himself. Are these, like, different brain partitions of Leiv or something? What are we doing? Is Leiv lying? Because they said a grave with 3 names. Is he like 3 people in one body or something? Most accomplished magi were eccentrics, and Reinol Gusion was one such person. Even though he was a diligent magus, in his private life he was the very image of a reckless youth. He was deservedly shunned as a scoundrel, and as a result he had many business partners but not a single friend. Nah, I don't like him. It's not that I'm lonely. There isn't even anyone I'd want to be friends with. No, there was one, Reinhold amended in the dreary room. There was a single what is that word? What is this word? Aesthet? A person who has or affects to have a special appreciation for beauty. Aesthet. I've never heard of aesthet before. There was a single aesthet who understood and was interested in Reinald's life's work. A magus from a far eastern country. A good-natured person that denounced the evils of man wholeheartedly. The woman who picked a fight with the association armed only with a suitcase, her shining hair streaking like a comet, as she declared herself the strongest on the planet. Wait, hold up. That sounds like Aoko, not Toko. What? Okay. Shining hair streaking like a comet, yeah. Judging from her look, she's one foxy woman. If she turns out to be a virgin, I'll laugh my ass off. If it were me, I'd complain about not getting to do any X-rated stuff. Okay. The lips that spewed those words were drawn in a grin. For the duty-driven Reinhold, it was a rare, pleasant memory. Welcome back, Director. A fine morning to you. It's a bit sudden, but we received an invoice and a demand for apology from the Department of Mineralogy. They're asking for an explanation about the excavation facility that you damaged the other day. A lively female voice resounded from the laboratory speakers. It was the voice of Reinol's secretary and caretaker. Seriously? I've been snuck in through the back door. How the hell did you notice? Is there a camera in here? I've rigged a lamp on my desk to turn on when that fridge opens. What of it? How clever of you, Reinol spat out and flopped onto the sofa. It's your job to deal with the complaints. What else is a secretary good for? Listen, I'm gonna sleep. I'll definitely sleep today. It's in a week. No, 2 weeks? Wait, is it 3 weeks? Anyway, I've got so many things to do I haven't had any real sleep. Somehow I found 2 hours of free time, so let me go off to Dreamland just this once. But what if they're also seriously angry just this once? Even if I handle the negotiations, would you at least consider the possibility of showing up yourself as your utmost gesture of goodwill? I ain't got no goodwill for all the lot that exploited kidnapped brats as a workforce. Just go with the usual. If we told him it's all my secretary, then things should work out peacefully, huh? I see. Playing dumb it is. I shall handle them that way. If the matter is left to my discretion, would it be agreeable for the mystic codes that you stole... No, acquired to be placed in my care? Fine. I've already forwarded the important stuff, so I'll send you the rest. Now I'm gonna sleep. I'll get up at the usual times, have the tea ready for then, and throw in those infernal pies of yours as usual, will ya? Pies as sweet as heaven. Understood. The voice from the speaker fell silent. Reinol let out his breath in annoyance and closed his eyes. A weightlessness as though floating in space, or perhaps like a plunging roller coaster in the grip of gravity. They're both apt comparisons. He still remained conscious in the exhaustion. What the hell? Can't even sleep properly. Magus's life's just too long. There's so many things to do, even I ain't got time to nap. Shit, am I just gonna work like a horse till I'm dead? Resigning himself, Reinol sprang up from the sofa and sat at the desk for his next project. Click, click, the keys softly resounded. On his desk was a laptop, and he went over the freshly updated grades of the new coming students which were displayed on the screen. It was his daily routine to find those among them that held promise, examine their background and present condition, and determine whether there was value in aiding them. There are many magi in the clock tower whose talents are squandered merely because of a lack of funds. That is even more so for newcomers, who are always in search of a patron. On the pretext of an assignment, Reinol offered such students problems to solve, covering the expenses necessary to that end. The point that being that randomly disseminating his research would indirectly foster a successor. Blessed with neither family nor apprentices, Reinol chose to enact his succession by releasing his legacy into society. What does that mean? What does that mean? Since long ago, magecraft, the study of thaumaturgy, had become an expensive pursuit, a threshold that those without wealth could not cross. But this issue was somewhat alleviated at the start of the 20th century. The reason for that was the recognition of modern magecraft as the 12th department. Modern magecraft is a faculty that aims to summarize the thaumaturgy of the past centuries as broader, shallower, more general magecraft that is easier to use. Freely discussing and evaluating magecraft, even uploading images of it at times, as it is truly a field for the new generation adapted to modern society without the support or approval of lords. The initial assumption that the gates of the clock tower are not open to lineages of less than 5 generations was shattered by the establishment of the Department of Modern Magecraft. Thus, many newcomers who had previously toiled in obscurity knocked on the door of the clock tower, and the city of magical academia recaptured its heyday of activity. The fact that El Malloy II, who is considered the foremost of the new generation's leaders, became the department head of modern magecraft could also be seen as a sign of the times. Regardless, the degree of conflict between the new generation that traced back a century or so at best, and the noble magi, who had more than 10 centuries of history behind them, goes without saying. The new generation is just a labor force, nothing more than dredges turning the gears of the clock tower's economy, and such is the opinion of the lords. Reinol also assents to that, but talent knows no rank to a magus. What takes precedence is the thesis, rather than the pedigree. The duty born within oneself, fulfilling a meaning that they themselves create. It is for that purpose that the clock tower, that a magus exists. History this and lineage that. Reinol Gusion, I'm just gonna say Gusion still, Felt that wasting time talking about such bygone things was in itself a blasphemy against the founding fathers of magecraft. Grooming his successor is a Magus's duty. 25 years are enough for my own research. That's my ability's peak anyway. After that, it's all a waste of effort. Past that point, a man's got to relinquish his time to the future. Reinol didn't start prioritizing the future because he grew old. As far back as he could remember, his only task had been to observe the future. The past was just a foundation. The present was a transient dream. A Magus must only aim at the future. It's a laugh that I'm sitting here in archaeology. Me, who doesn't give a toss about the relics of the past and would rather wipe them all out. But what can I do? That's where measuring instruments are cheapest to use after all. That'd eventually become Reinol's stock phrase. And yet, I don't think that's it. You hate the past because you know that learning the truth inevitably changes things. You treasure the future because it's something you cannot change, right? Honestly, men are romantic to a fault. Must have been because of the memory from earlier. His lips relaxing once more, Reinol went back to choosing his new investments and sending introductory emails. This is Aoko then, probably. Apologies for interrupting your daddy longlegs impression. Again, don't know what that's a reference to, but we don't have the notes there. Director, is this a good time? The hell it is. I told you not to wake me up before noon. Oh no, this is the secretary. I told you not to wake me up before noon, didn't I? Sure came back early anyway. Taxi fare was included in the expenses. By the way, there is a guest waiting in the lobby. Since her shameless look matches yours, she'll have her wait at the usual storage room. A female visitor? Probably made an appointment, not that I remember. I'll deal with her when I wake up, so leave her in whichever empty room works. At worst, even if I oversleep, I'll wake up before nightfall. Understood. Same as usual it is. I was making sure just in case. Well then, wait a moment. I'll ask just in case. You haven't raised an eyebrow even at a topless woman before, so what the hell kind of look do you call shameless? Well, whatever. What's her name? Could it be a nudist or something? About that. How do you read this noun, I wonder? Japanese is really difficult. If you can tell it's Japanese, you should already know. What are you acting coy for, huh? This is just a guess, but it would be possible to read this as Miss Aozaki. Show her to the director's room right now. And you'll bug her right off to Mars or whatever, and you won't come back for at least half a day, you hear me? Reinol bolted upright from his chair and rushed into the next room. He rinsed his sleepless, zombie-like face with cold water, arranged his hair, and relied on his memory to put on a shirt that matched her taste. Just for a moment, he even considered a plan to go outside and pick a complete outfit instead before just changing his mind, thinking that in those 30 minutes she could very well disappear. She was a woman that drifted as free as a butterfly, after all. As a result, he cut a dreary figure as he ran down the hallway. His face was filled with anxiety and the almost overflowing anticipation of meeting an acquaintance after several years. Perhaps the previous memory had been a sign from heaven. Miss Aozaki. That was the only other name that mattered to Reinol Gusion. She was an exceptionally unusual magus, a free spirit that belonged to no association, was shunned by all. Although she wasn't a wanted criminal, quite a few people were trying to make a name for themselves by taking her down. In fact, whenever she visited the clock tower, she never once left in peace without an incident. I'm never coming back to such a rowdy city. It had been several years already since she spat out those words and laid waste to the sealing designation division. The woman he thought he'd never see again had returned to the clock tower. And on top of that, she came to visit him of her own accord. Just to clarify, Reinol was incapable of love. What he felt was a kind of pure passion, a determination to definitely win her over this time. After all, he had exhausted his capacity for something as human as love long ago. Yo, it's been a while, but you're rocking as always, Miss Aozaki. Now I can tell even without looking. I'm sure you're rocking even harder than before. Speaking of, welcome to Rock's Road. Coming to me for a favor? Is it okay to feel flattered that you're giving me a last chance? Reinol opened the door of the director's room without looking. In the daily cleaned but never used room stood a dignified woman in her mid-20s. This is going to be the older sister. Turning away, she pulled the long hair wig from her head and Oh my god, the two sisters are doing each other. She pulled a long hair wig from her head, greeted Reinol with a smile. Good morning. It's been a while, Longshanks. That's a name. Okay. My congratulations for your directorship, belated as they are. Now, I know it's a bit sudden, but I've used up my travel fund, and I was wondering if you could possibly lend me some money. This is amazing. It's the older sister. God damn it. The 40-year-old kicked the chair like a child. Okay, I mean, the parallels are fun, but what are we doing? The 40-year-old kicked the chair away like a child. The last chance that Reinol Gusion had dreamed of vanished even before nighttime. Miss Aozaki wore teenager clothes. Hot. Not the teenager thing, but her wearing them. Don't misconstrue. A plain black long t-shirt and leather pants. Also, maybe I used a strange thing. The reddish-brown black hair had returned to the shortcut. What? That's a very weird sentence. Oh, to the shortcut hair. Okay, I see what they're saying. Been a few years since Reinol met before, but nothing changed on her paper except her hair length. Okay, so this must be Mihoyo era at least. I wonder if the design of the glasses that I'm wearing has become a little softer. Makeup is kept to a minimum, but there is an erotic that seems to smell good. Miss Aozaki had been such a woman since the clock tower era. She looks like a research nerd, cares about her appearance, and enjoys herself as a woman. That would be her lightness and gorgeousness. Reinol recalls his former feelings that it is like a beautiful, graceful butterfly that gathers the gaze of the surroundings just by dancing. It was a nostalgic memory that hadn't changed even after 10 years. Now, wait. You're younger than you were when you were a student, nerd. Wait, what? Did we change writing style? What's going on? Why is it so different now? What's that style? It's not a 90-year hippie, isn't it too free? Yeah, it's like, I think we changed writing styles or something. Oh, this is why there's two translators. We're back to the other one now? Okay. Yeah, it's a perfect disguise, isn't it? I'm wanted here, so I have to dress like this that no one can think of. Oh, the translation got worse. That? Is it the clothes of a store where women over the age of 20 wear school uniforms and whining and dining? Japan is great, otaku magical world. Oh, don't take off your glasses. You can leave them as they are. I'm tired. At least be a lady with just the wording. Oh no, this writing got bad. Oh, can't you see me as a lady? In any social circle, there is a lady who summons a train gun under the skirt and releases it. What the frick? Okay. Emulate your sister. You have a quarrel? Please feel good at Stegoro. What the frick are we doing? Why did the translation get bad? I don't know what's being said now. Please be a little human. Compared to my sister, I'm totally within common sense. Miss Aozaki sharpens her lips, like frustrated. Oh my god, what is this writing? Why did it die? What's going on? It just suddenly what do you mean, like frustrate? What? Like a real sister, her gestures were very... Like a real sister? Her gestures were very similar to the sister Reinhold was expecting. Wait. Reinhold? What's going on? Why is his name now Reinhold? Okay. Her sisters chose the opposite way of life. I hope it goes back to normal. Does it? Oh no, I don't think it does. Oh no, I don't think it does. Oh, this sucks, man. Oh, this was a really good translation. Now it's dying. Okay, let's at least read the story then. Oh, that sucks, man. I hate it when it does that. Why can't you guys finish your translations? Okay. The sisters chose The sisters chose the opposite way of life, but the underlying humanity is not so far apart. It's like a loop line, but now they're in opposite positions. They have the same starting point in the first place, and they probably end up the same way. A serious story, what are you planning to do? You should know, you and I have very different ideas, and it's not a good relationship. Is that it? Did you come to stop my heart at a surprise party to kill time? Is your purpose my savings? It's true that I don't have the money because I have a bargain and bought it for more than I expected. However, I was more surprised. Why are you alive? I managed to bring some flowers because you were killed, but isn't that the story? Okay, so yeah, it's the same thing though. I don't understand the meaning. When did you hear that I was dead? About half a year ago. You probably sent a letter saying, please do various things after you die. That's something wrong. If so, I wouldn't ask you for help in the first place. If there is the best projectile for the words just before death. What is happening? You know what? I'm gonna take a look to see if there's an updated version of this translation, because this is rough! Well, bad news, there is no better version. It's well known that the translators only did the first 3.5 chapters, and this is confirmed to be machine translated. This sucks. Well, we might as well finish it, I guess. Oh, this sucks. I was really getting into this. Okay, well, we'll at least figure out what's going on. Right? Okay. If I give you a will, I'll either be a zombie or material for a doll. Well, that's right. By the way, haven't you heard there's a person disappeared around here half a year ago? Oh. Oh. Wait, half a year. Wait. No, there isn't. Rock's Throat is my garden. Even in... Is this meant to be Rock's Road? Oh my god. I know what it has increased and what has disappeared. There's a guy who disappeared, but there's no murder case. There are no murders. Miss Aozaki replied, holding a chess piece placed on the desk with cold eyes. It was such a strange story, but this is the end of the requirement. It was a waste of time. I don't like you at all, but you're worried about me and came, so I'll pay for the transportation. Or do you want to stay for a while? Thank you for your kindness, but it's okay. I have my own accommodation. All you want to lend is the gasoline bill for the hideout. More than that. I'm still... Wait, is this saying, are you still continuing your research? Yeah. When asked by Miss Aozaki, Reinol Gusion felt a strange sense of anxiety that was difficult to express. She was negative about Reynolds. The name keeps changing study. If she argued, she could have understood that all she got was antipathy. But why are you asking such a question now? It was a measure to study the future, right? The future is predictable, but you're a little different. Oh, I predict the future, but I'm looking for the approximate coordinates. I leave what the future needs, whether it's supplies or information, what the human beings are looking for. After all, there's a lot missing when it comes to predicting future paintings. Environmental protection is too late. I have to be more aggressive and have the spirit to deliver it there. Reinol Gusion is a magician with, imaginary number attribute. Yeah. Is also Sakura's element. Yeah. To put it simply, he's a diver who can plunge his hand into a dimensional gap. The imaginary space, which is said to have nothing, is like a pocket dimension, and those who fall inside become things that are not bound by space and time. Use that property as a time capsule. I just see Japanese words at the bottom of the page. We measure the existence of the same fictional users in the future and continue to retain what will be lost and will be needed in the future. We can only send it, but that's probably one of the time trips. The past can be received, and the future can be transmitted by transmitting, isn't it? Don't you think in time paradox? In the first place, you have isolated things from this era, so don't you think they'll be lost in the future? Whatever. So when this era is over and there is a gap or blank in human history, I'll be refreshed. I can't do such big thing with my efforts. This is nonsense. Rest assured, what you're sending is basically information. I'm not sending resources. Okay, so he's sending information to the future. It only sends facts that are consumed by civilization and repainted or filled as the era changes. Yeah, for what? Says Toku. It'll be decided, and that will change something, he said with a scowling face. Thank you for not translating this. What does that say? A face that looks like it has eaten a bitter insect. Thanks. You really did your best on the translation here. He uses the... Like, if you're gonna machine translate, at least go in and make it so that it makes sense after, man. He uses the word... He uses the abstract word something. But it seems like he knows the ending. Naturally, he knows. He knows what kind of world is the future. Reinol Gusion's life is to reward the bitter world, measure the future, and do the important things of sacrificing the past and present for the purpose of prosperity in the magical world. That is the significance of Reinol's existence. He was convinced from the time I was born, I love pronouns, I can't even wonder if it's right or wrong. It's okay, so leave it alone. Anyway, it doesn't matter to you. I just want to see the things and people that follow. According to the translator's interpretation, you are the translator! Follow means to continue the times. You are the translator! I'm not interested in the now or the past. Oops, don't argue about what humanity has done or where it came from, as it used to. Such a thing, it's not worth a penny for me. There was such a thing. I'm sure the future is an epilogue of the accumulation of history, so don't expect too much. Okay? After that, it was a big deal. It's like a full-course meal. What a smooth word. It's no wonder I get angry because you make fun of my work, what I'm serious about. You're a genius who considers the past important. It's like Venus to the old-fashioned wizard. But from my point of view, you are a pagan goddess. The more I speak, the more I want to eliminate it. So get out before that happens. Why is it a story excluding a pagan goddess, like a religion somewhere? Well, to prevent it, because I would inadvertently get hooked and change my purpose. I've been studying like an idiot for nearly 40 years, but if I became a serious person, it'd be really ridiculous. It was a word that acknowledged his discomfort. However, Reinol's mouth is smiling. If so, it's the softness of a human look. Assuming it would be fun. You've always been a serious person, though. Yeah, let's leave it at that case. What you're doing is as reckless as my idiot. What does that mean? But I've been shown your appearance, so I don't stop what you're doing. Forget about the letter, I'll handle the rest. Return the chess piece he was playing with, his fingers to the desk. Miss Aozaki set out to leave the president's office. Hey, wait, I forgot my petrol bill. See, take it. This stand is at Jennifer's store because the service is good. For an unexpected advice, she stopped and turned at Reynolds with an expression like a teenage girl. The automatic PX sound of Kyoton suits you. What the frick? Where is it? Was there a stand in Rocks Road? The orange magician takes his mobile phone device out of his pocket and displays the maps of Rocks Road. Do you use your smartphone? I use it normally. I used to use a mobile phone a while ago, but I changed them all because this one has more functions. Is it strange? Because you don't need it at your level. You can do what you want with your smartphone in your head. Whether it's calculation or communication, the magic circuit can do as much processing as a mobile terminal can do. Civilization has not yet reached the level of eradicating occultism. Technology has taken over many obligations from humans, but this is still not enough. Magic cannot be overtaken unless humans themselves reach levels that is no longer needed. Therefore, the higher the level of the magician, the more despised the electronic device. Relying on such things is like professing to be an inexperienced person, but if the external terminals are sufficient, don't you think they could be used for other purposes? Instead of abandoning the existing functions, acquire new abilities, like time. I think this is what it means to leave resources to the future. The translator's interpretation. In a special notation, the author writes in abilities and reads it as time. Part is important. Translators believe that time as seen by Reinhold and Toko has something to do with it. I wish you guys would just translate normally instead of this, but okay. That's why. So I hate you, but admit. Reinol Gusion remembers. The advantage of prioritizing the present without hesitation while knowing the value of the past is what the sisters Toko and Aoko have in common. Goodbye. It's not that letter, but be careful not to be killed. Reinhold took a bunch of 1-pound notes out of his butt pocket and threw the matter without counting. I'm not stupid. I use my time as I like, but, well, it's life that you don't know where you're buying a grudge. Okay? If I was killed, come and laugh at me at that time. You treated the worth of my life as a dessert. Can you do that much with jokes, Reinhold? He talked about the past. Okay. We're just finishing this off then. At this point, this has become nonsense. Let's hope this last one is at least maybe slightly better. Winter, the death of a certain magus. The gray sky suggests the fall of snow. A small funeral was held in the small graveyard surrounded by iron fences. The cemetery was built atop a hill, so that it could not have been seen from the residential area. This is sounding better so far. At least 20 mourners leave the graveyard, exchanging personal memories. The wilderness as far as the eye can see. The tombstones of the dead are evenly distributed. The sound of the wind is not present today. Only the noon bell that can be heard from the city was the sound that connected the city to the individual. This is a joke. I can't believe I brought flowers to the gravestone and met a woman I didn't want to see even if I died. Oh, they're meeting each other. I don't want to see you either. It's annoying. I was told to smile, but I can't smile at all when you're nearby. 2 Japanese women appeared after the participants who resided in the city disappeared. Toko. I was watching the mansion to prevent this from happening, but I never thought he would commit suicide inside it. Did you know this would happen? That's right. Did you receive a letter from Mr. Flauros too? I'm already dead. I've been killed, so come to my funeral. Oh, wait. Leiner Gusion? Wait, what? Okay, wait. Leiner Gusion? Wait. Reinol was Leiner? Oh, wait. Hold up. Oh, that explains stuff then. Wait. What are we doing? Okay. I don't know what kind of magic it was, but the letter arrived in time and I thought it was amazing. When I was impressed and went out there, I was surprised that he was alive. Oh, that's right. Flauros only remembered our last names. That's why it reached us both. But why? Who is Leiv Uvall or Reinol Gusion in the first place? So then Leiv Uvall and Reinol Gusion are... Oh, okay. Well, that explains more. I've never met such a man. We met the two. When I first met Flauros, you were there too. Yes, the lobster was delicious. From that moment thereafter, you and I were remembered as allies, as indifferent strangers and hateful enemies to him. He didn't say it, but that's what he catalogued us at the very end. Although he was an enemy, he was greatly understanding in person. Oh, he had a double personality. It is also complete with multiple personalities that sees one thing and does different things at the same time. It seems that even their names were different from his. You must have had a conversation with both the Leiv and the Liner carved into the tombstone. We were unaware that we were having a conversation with them. I only knew Mr. Leiv, the one who was deciphering the past. I only knew him as serving the future. But it must have been recorded as his personal impression. One Mr. Flauros recognized me as companion. One Mr. Flauros felt me as an enemy. This is translated okay, at least. Oh, that's right. Well, sometimes he said strange things. Anyway, if it is a double personality, then in the end, why did Flauros, who had different personalities, kill himself? Okay, the grammar's not the best, though. That is because there were no third parties present here. Sure, Leiv and Liner wanted to kill each other. After all, both were paranoid of the past and future. If you live in the same research building, it will be annoying, and above all, if the other disappears, you have more time for yourself. There is no reason not to kill the other. Oh, he killed the other, okay. But that means killing yourself, doesn't it? Doesn't make much sense for him to lose his body in order to take over ownership of the body. Wait, if that motive is right, he would have committed suicide decades ago. The fact it didn't happen until now is probably because there was a good mediator until now. But now it's gone, and the past and future couldn't stop hating each other. Or the hatred may have been directed at oneself. It seems that the corpse was in his office anyway, so it is certain that one of them set the trap. Both had the same chance, so it's impossible to know which one set the trap first. Mr. Flauros confined himself in a trap he had created for himself. That was the end. It was an impeccable act of self-destruction, says Toko. I see. If so, there's no reason for us as outsiders to complain and intervene. But the letter, didn't it say, already dead? What could that mean? That would be a genuine suicide. As you can see, the past and future have self-destructed because the other person had been lost. There was certainly someone who sent us a letter and who was the intermediary who had been interceding between the two of them until now, and had died from the very beginning. That is... Oh, well now. Simply put, there was a third Flauros. Okay, there was a third personality, yeah. Such a thing. After all, it's a personality divided into past and future. Naturally, there's a personality in charge of the present. It's unclear if this was the case in the beginning or in the course of his research, but Mr. Flauros divided his personality into past, present, and future. The past ignored the future, and the future denied the past. The two people who disagreed did not quarrel because there was an intermediary that was the now. But the now committed suicide. He killed his personality and surrendered his body to the others. Understanding his actions would kill the past and future, he died first. Well, the remaining mystery is why he wanted to commit suicide now. No matter how I think about it, I have no idea. What do you think? Wait a minute. Is it reasonable to think the reason for suicide is losing all of one's hopes in the world? Now Flauros has to know the extremes of the future and the past, the mediation, right? Then there's no hope anymore. The past and the future are still good because he was only looking at one of them, but now he knows the consequences of both. He understood more than anyone else that his unchanging despair couldn't bear the burden and committed suicide. What do you think? Well, that's impossible. You haven't really been studying the basics, have you? Magi cannot easily commit suicide in the first place. Oh, that's right. As long as you have a magic crest, it's difficult to die on your own due to a curse. Oh, interesting. The crest is a boon, but at the same time is a chain that constrains your fate. You can die from external factors, but you can't break the family's rules with your own hands. Oh, in other words, retirement is not allowed in the form of suicide due to frustration, especially if it's an old family line. I'll tell you exactly why you are ignorant of the fact. The order of the beginning of the families that existed before the Christian era. The most sublime blood order in the magical world. I see some important words, a cursed absolute pride that continues the order until the family line is cut off. That is what we call the coronal rank designation, Grand Order. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. It's a God-given responsibility from the mage's family line spread. Mr. Flauros was undoubtedly the heir of a prestigious magi family that dates back to the Christian era. So he can't commit suicide due to despair. Oh, this is interesting. The Grand Order, the Order of the Begin. Oh, yeah, this seems important. This seems important, actually. It's a good thing I kept reading. Pride. Absolutely strict pride. Huh. Well, maybe I can explain it. It's like being an ant in a hive. What? Did you really understand? Well, I'm not so convinced, but maybe. If it's an extension of that order, it can be explained, right? Then there's really only one answer. The Flauros of the now did not commit suicide, but was forced to commit suicide to stop the Flauros of the past and future. Okay. Even from your point of view, Mr. Flauros of the future was terrible, wasn't he? Same goes for Mr. Flauros of the past. The research of those two people would bring harm to the present world, just by continuing it, because they thought they didn't need anything other than the time they were looking at. Okay. That's right. Even if the order engraved on Flauros was not destruction, the idea of excluding others was dangerous, but how does it lead to suicide? So, wasn't present Flauros the same? His orders to protect the present, so we had to stop Leiv Uvall and Reinol Gusion, who were only interested in the direction of time they were looking at. But he, who can't kill a human named Flauros, acted for indirect self-destruction by closing the now. That's it. That's the current conclusion. If we kill the past, only the future will rejoice. When the future is closed, only the past becomes robust. It just follows the speculation of someone who gave me karma. So in order to protect the now, me of the now had to disappear, even if no one knows if the result was achieved. If so, it's an ironic story. The present Mr. Flauros took such a method, probably dreaming of reconciliation between the two remaining personalities. If they are cooperating, at least the human named Flauros would have survived. Even the human named Flauros is crazy. Is that so? I don't think Mr. Flauros was that optimistic. What's the basis for that? You really are insensitive. That's why I don't have a lover yet. You see, the letter said I'll ask for the rest, right? In the first place, he called at least the two of us who are left in here. No, it's ridiculous to say. If we think in the opposite order, it becomes a hassle thing about anything else. Wait, that's different. Having a lover is not something I can't do. It's just different. I haven't done yet. I have a backup lover plan. Oh. Well, I think we know who that is. Yes. It's okay to struggle forever. It's the end of discussion. It'd be enough to mourn the deceased. Well, I'm going back to the city. What about you? Anyway, you probably don't have the money. Would you like to eat with me for once in a while? Wow, is this a treat coming from my sister? Let me introduce you to a restaurant that you can pay for later. With a grinning and pleasantly distorted smile, Miss Aozaki with the short hair turned her back on Flauros' grave, while the Miss Aozaki with the long hair put flowers in the grave and chased after her sister as she began descending down the hill. It's the last sight I saw in 2014. Whether or not the day will come to this fragment has some meaning to me who lost 2015. What the frick? Okay. The last sight I saw in 2014. Whether or not this day will come when this fragment has some meaning is unknown to me who lost 2015. What does that mean? Oh, this is... Man, I was really enjoying this, and then the translation just died, man. That sucks. Okay. Leiv Uvall and Reinol Gusion are two separate sort of characters that we sort of know who they are now, right? They're... Okay, Lev Liner has 3 personalities. That's the big thing I meant to get. Okay, let me pull up the wiki here to see if there's anything important that I missed here, right? So, okay, here we go. 1. Apparently, this story is set in the Tsukihime world. Okay, well, that's already interesting. Following the events of Tsukihime and Witch on the Holy Night, following a certain person committing suicide to protect the present age. Circumstances like those that happen in the fate of... Oh, so this is why... Oh, is the story just... Hey, there's a world where Lev killed himself and it's the Tsukihime world and that's why Grand Order didn't happen? Although the result was unknown to everyone, his actions protected the past and future in that world line. Okay. Nasu first published the novel on the Mahosukai no Hako site for 2 days, April 29th to April 30th, 2014. He later released a PDF version on his blog. It was later published in Fate Type Moon Ace Grand Order, connecting it to Fate Grand Order. There's a mistake in there. He said that Bartholomew was in charge of the Department of Individual Fundamentals rather than the Solane family. He put out a text correction on that. Okay. Well, that is, I mean, it's cool. It's cool that it existed and happened, but I wish that it didn't die there. That it's some good info though. Now, I part of me is like, I want to wiki dive to like see if I could understand more, but at the same time, part of me is like, I probably shouldn't, just because I feel like it'll go into stuff that I don't want it to, right? And if this ties into FGO, then we'll see it there. So, okay. That's where it is for now, right? Okay, yeah, because it was summer, then it was autumn. Okay, there's time in between. I didn't see the time there. Okay. This is a neat story that I sure wish was translated better. But okay. Maybe, who knows, in the future it will be. That'd be nice. We will be doing some more readings of other stuff in the future here, but for now, right? We'll probably get back to some other stuff. You know, well, we'll see. I might do something else first. I'm not exactly sure. But I was told I pretty much should hop on this right away. Thank you all for watching though, guys. We'll see you next time for some more Let's Read stuff. Ciao. Yo.